An ambulance offload delay occurs when paramedics arrive in the emergency department with a patient, but the hospital is not able to assume care for that patient. Paramedics can care for the patient, but don't deliver the same care and ongoing care that the nurses and hospital staff are able to deliver. So the patient isn't really receiving the care that they need. But worse, when our paramedics are tied up caring for patients in the hospital, they're not able to respond to the next call that comes in the community.
In October of 2022, when I arrived at the hospital shortly thereafter, there were often 10 or 11 ambulances sitting in our driveway. The local press was picking up on this as well, and there was a front page story about some of the challenges we were having in our emergency department. People were literally sitting out there for almost 5 hours before they even got into our department.
The real crux of the issue was around the hospital offload times. There were times in 2022 when we had no ambulances whatsoever available in the community. We were relying for the next emergency on ambulances coming from our neighboring municipalities. But the level of frustration of being in offload delay was quite high. So as a paramedic service, we made our council and people that we report to aware of the concerns, of course.
One of the first calls I had was with Chief Dewar, and he highlighted to me some of the challenges that we're having in ambulance offload times. And we talked about what could we do together to try and solve this. And unquestionably, the measurements were not painting a great picture of it.
We provided reports to them as well. We put them all together for a lean management event and looked at it. How can we make this system better? Where's the niches? Where's the pinch points? What can we do to make this a better experience for the patient and for the community?
So we see a number of really key measurable improvements. The first, of course, is the actual reduction in the time that people are sitting on stretchers in our offload area. As of June of 2023, we had moved it down to 42 minutes, and we've actually been able to sustain that type of performance. The changes that we've made have really benefited both our hospital staff as well as the paramedic team. I see it in a couple of different ways. First of all, the relationships between the two groups have strengthened immensely. We now have one team that's working well together to address the patient concerns. And at the end of the day, I believe that this results in better patient care.
We've seen a significant reduction in offload delays. We hope to keep them, in the ideal world, they would be at 30 minutes. I think we're at 42 minutes, but we're able to get to our calls because there's fewer ambulances and offload delays. There's a definite reduction in the amount of frustration.
So I think it's really important for us to continue to invest in solutions that help ambulance offload times, largely because we know that time spent on a stretcher in offload is not optimal care. It's safe care, but it's not optimal care. And we want to make sure that we deliver exemplary care. And I know that is true for both our paramedic team as well as for our hospital staff. And I think we're only going to see our population continue to grow and the acuity of the patients that are presenting to us go up if we don't have additional investments and strategies to deal with offload times. We're just going to see them increase over time. So we've got to continue to invest, sustain the improvements that we've seen, and I believe it will ultimately impact positively on patient care.
I think it's important as part of the OHT to work with others in the community around how do we help patients in long-term care settings and maybe avoid their trips to the hospital. It's thinking globally and thinking about the patients, thinking about the community, and being able to talk to the people who would be the decision makers and who would be also frustrated by those problems, able to work together with them. So the OHT has been a great benefit to us.